Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel Journey with VIJAYKUMAR SHRIVASTAV. Today I am going to present the topic Principles of Weed Management. Before presentation, little introduction about me. I am VIJAYKUMAR SHRIVASTAV. I have done M.Sc Agriculture with a specialization in Agronomy from Pant University of Agriculture and Technology, Pantnagar in 1996 and presently associated with one of the M.Sc in seed industry. So let's move to the presentation. Weeds. Weeds are the plants which grow where they are not wanted. Weeds compete with crops for water, soil nutrients, light and space. Weeds reduce crop yields to the extent of up to 50%, and critical period of weed competition is approximately 1/3 of the duration of the crop. Characteristics of weeds. 1 year seeding, 7 years weeding. This is the truth regarding weeds because their dispersal is very fast and they survive for longer periods. Weeds produces larger number of seeds compared to crops. Like Amaranthus retroflexus produces nearly 1,96,000 seeds per plant, whereas wheat and rice produces only 90 to 100 seeds per plant. Most of the wheat seeds are small in size. They are having very easy and diverse means of seed dispersion. Seeds germinate earlier and grow faster. In weeds, they flower earlier and mature ahead of the crop. Wheat seeds germinate under tough conditions and they are season bound. Seeds are dormant for long period and germinate during suitable season. Wheat seeds are having good viability for years and they are tolerant to moisture stress, and weeds possess a stronger and deeper root system. Effect of weed competition on crop growth and yield. Crop suffers from nutritional deficiency because of weeds. Crop growth is reduced. Water requirement will be more, and weeds lowers the input response. Pest and disease incidence will be more, and crop will be affected, and cost of production will increase. Here we will study the critical period of weed competition for important crops. Like in a case of lowland rice, the critical period is 35 days from sowing. In case of upland rice, it will be 60 days from sowing. In case of sorghum, it's 30 days. Maize 30 days from sowing. Cotton 35 days. Sugarcane 90 days. Groundnut 45 days, soybean 45 days, onion 60 days and tomato 30 days. So we have to take care of weed control within this period, otherwise crop growth will be severely affected and there will be decrease in crop yields. Principles of weed control. We are following the principles of prevention, eradication, control and management. So now we will study about each principle in details. First principle is preventive weed control, in which we have to avoid using crop that are infested with weed seeds for sowing. And second, avoid adding weeds to the manure pits. Nursery or planting material should be free from weeds. And keep irrigation channels, fence lines and uncropped areas clean. Constantly look for weed, destroy the weeds then and there. Use good quality certified seeds which are free from weed seeds, and use pre-emergence herbicide to prevent germination of weeds. Second principle of weed control is eradication, which refers complete removal of weeds. Weeds are killed or completely removed from a given area and it will not reappear unless it is introduced again. However, the eradication method is very difficult. It involves high cost and it can be used in greenhouses and nurseries. Third principle is control, in which weed growth is restricted and killed when necessary so that it is not affecting crop growth. Fourth principle is weed management, in which we are managing the population of weeds using all possible methods. Like first one is mechanical method, second is cultural weed control, third is biological weed control, and fourth is chemical weed control. About each method we will discuss in details. First method is mechanical method, in which first one is tillage. By using plow or discs, weeds are removed from soil and exposed to sunlight. Second is hoeing, using hand hoe, because of which annual and biennial weeds are completely removed. And third mechanical method is hand weeding, either by physical removal or pulling out of weeds by hand or using some implements. Then digging, it is advisable in the case of perennial weeds. Then using sickle, top portion of weeds are removing. Using sickle, thereby weed seed production is controlled. Then burning. Burning is often an economical and practical means of controlling weeds but not always possible in crops production fields. Then flooding. Flooding kills weed by reducing oxygen to plant growth. This is possible only under garden land or wetland conditions. So these are all about mechanical methods of weed control. What are the merits of mechanical method? This is oldest and effective method of weed control. Safe method for environment. High skill is not necessary. And weeding is possible in between plants. And deep-rooted weeds can be controlled effectively. Along with merits, there are some demerits also. Like it is labor and time consuming. Possibility of crop damage is there. And it requires ideal moisture. Then it is a costly method. Now we will study cultural weed control, in which first one is summer plowing. It is done immediately after summer showers. This exposes weeds to hot sun. Second is field preparation. It makes the field weed free by constant removal. Third is selection of crops. Select crops that can compete better with weeds like cowpea, Sudan grass, sorghum, which are good competitors. Fast growing crops suppress the weeds effectively. Then maintenance of optimum plant population. Adequate plant population covers the land and hence growth of the weeds will be difficult. Close row crops are better than wide row in reference to weed control. In cultural weed control, other processes are crop rotation, which minimize the dominance of particular weed in the cropping system. Then growing of intercrops. Intercropping covers the land quickly and reduce growth of the weeds, like growing crops such as cowpea, soybean, in wide spaced crop like maize, pigeon, pea, sugarcane, etc. Then mulching. Mulch is a protective covering of material maintained on soil surface. It has a smoothing effect and reduces the weed growth. Mulching can be done through degradable farm waste or through plastic sheets. In case of plastic, black is the most popular color used in commercial horticulture crop production, especially for weed control. Then solarization. It is done by covering the pre-soaked field with transparent polythene cover, which increases the temperature by 5 to 10 degrees centigrade, and it is working beneficial for controlling the weeds. Other means of cultural weed control is a still seedbed, in which weeds are allowed to germinate and non-residual herbicide is sprayed to kill the young weed seedlings. Then blind tillage, plowing after sowing of the crop and before plants emerge. This is called blind tillage. Normally seed drills are used under unfed condition for this purpose. Then crop management practices. Vigorous and fast growing crop varieties for better competition with weeds are recommended to control the weeds. Merits of cultural weed control. It is having low cost. It is easy to adopt. Less technical skill is sufficient. And there is no damage to crops. And there is having effective weed control. Along with there are some demerits also, like time taking and difficult process, and perennial and problematic weeds cannot be controlled. Third means of weed management is biological weed control, in which natural enemy of a weed plant is used to control the weeds. Like examples, Zygogrima biolorata for control of Parthenium grass, then Hirsch Maniella aspinicaudata in rice, root nematode to control most upland rice weeds, and Azolla in rice. These are controlling the weeds. The advantages of biological weed control. This is eco-friendly, easy method and having low cost. And what are the disadvantages? They may have alternate host or switching over to alternate host. Multiplication of bioagents many cases is difficult. Now fourth method of weed management is chemical weed control, in which herbicides are chemicals used to control weeds. What are the merits in this method? They are recommended for adverse soil and climatic conditions, applied even before weeds emerge and make the environment weed free, suitable for all type of crops, then control the targeted weeds only and controls many perennial weed species. It is cost effective compared to labor usage. Now to study the demerits of chemical control. It pollutes the environment, affects the soil because it is affecting the beneficial organisms in soil. Then herbicide drifts affects adjoining fields. If there is wind blowing, it will affect the neighboring crops. Then it requires minimum technical knowledge to mixing the solution, using the chemicals and proper timing of a spray, etc. Then leaves residual effects. These are the chemicals which are having some toxicity effects on crop, by which the crops are showing some scorchy symptoms or some roughness to its leaves, etc. Then some herbicides are costly, so farmers cannot afford, and this is health hazardous due to toxicity of chemicals. Then no suitable herbicides are available for mixed and intercropping systems, because in mixed and intercropping we are using different nature of crops, so there is different chemicals needed for weed control, so it is not suitable in case of mixed and intercropping system. Now we will study the classification of herbicides. Classification is done on 4 bases. First one is methods of application. On this basis, herbicides are of 2 types. First one is soil herbicides, where herbicides are incorporated in soil, and second is foliar herbicides. These are sprayed on crop. Second is mode of action. On this basis, there are 2 types of herbicides. First one is selective herbicides, which kills only weeds. There will be no effect to growing crops. And second is non-selective herbicides. These herbicides kill the entire vegetation along with crops and weeds. Third basis is mobility. On this basis, herbicides are divided in 2 types. First one is contact herbicides. When chemicals are coming in contact with wheat plant, it will kill the weeds. Second is translocated herbicides. In this case, the herbicide's poison moves from treated parts to untreated parts, like glyphosate. Fourth is time of application. On this basis, herbicides are categorized in 3 types. First one is pre-plant herbicides. These are used before sowing or along with sowing, like glyphosate for Haryali control and Vaseline in case of groundnut cropping. Second is pre-emergence herbicides. These herbicides are used before weeds germinate, like thiophancarb. And after that, third category is post-emergence herbicides. In this case, herbicides are applied after weeds germinate. Then, after a spray, it will control the weeds. Here to study the methods of herbicides application. There are 2 modes. First one is spraying, second is broadcasting. In case of spraying, we are going for foliar application, and it is of 4 types. First one is blanket spray, second is direct spray, third is protected spray, and fourth is a spot treatment. So now we will discuss about each spray in details. First spray is blanket spray. Both crop and weed is sprayed with weedicide. Second is directed spray. Application of herbicides on weeds only, avoiding crop using hood. Example, spraying glyphosate in between rows of tapioca using hood to control Haryali. Then protected spray. Crops are covered and herbicide are sprayed on weeds only. This method is expensive. Then a spot treatment. In this treatment, herbicide applied only where weeds are present. So these are the different methods of sprays. So this was all about the presentation topic, principles of weed management. Now my presentation ends here. Thank you very much. See you again shortly. I have given here my YouTube channel details. Journey with Vijaykumar Shrivastav. Having request, please visit the channel, subscribe it, and provide your kind and valuable feedback for further improvements to make in next presentations. Thank you.